Hello and welcome back to the next One Piece review and discussion. And leaks have come out a little bit later, but we are here nonetheless, ready for the next chapter. The end of Egghead is continuing to close in, and things looked bad. Things were certainly looking bad for the Straw Hats, and well, what a last chapter we had. I mean, so clear what was going to happen, but Oda's just the man with the plan. So, without further ado, let's just get right into this. Chapter 1107. I've been looking for you. Quite a lovely title. I like it. But cover story comes in from Law and Beppo. We have our lovely boys just after, obviously, the anime episode of Law. Maybe there's just a little tie in there. But Beppo is jealous because Law is chilling with a snow leopard. They're both sleeping, just chilling in the snow. And Beppo's come along in like a little fur coat, not looking too happy. But last we'd left off, obviously things were looking bad on Egghead. But then, out of the depths of the sea, against a Buster Call that was annihilating the island, the giant pirate had showed up. Oh, Dory and Broggy themselves have decided to make their appearance and state very clearly that they're here to save Luffy. Well, not Luffy, Sun God Nika, because they know. So anyway, as they set foot onto the island, the whole pirate crew, all the giant pirates, begin to rush, and Dory and Broggy give the order to Omo and Kashi. So we know the two guys who were the guards at Ennis Lobby. Obviously, they were trying to find our boys when they were fighting on Little Garden. Their captains and the government very connivingly put them into service through a very clever lie. But Luffy and the others revealed that, no, Dory and Broggy are doing just fine. We've just actually helped them on Little Garden. They're no longer fighting. You should go find them. So that was that. All dealt with. So the order's given that they are to stay on the ship and sail around to the other side of the island so that they can intersect, and just said to any warship, anything in your way, just get rid of it. Just lay it to waste, but just watch out for the cannons because obviously they are pretty stocked. But nevertheless, everyone other than those two make landfall, and they are hulking through the tree line. They are just no shit is being spared now. They are just they're in. How the Marines are going to deal with this, they're not. Most of the Marines at this point have got back onto the ships. There's probably not many, maybe handfuls, who are still on land because the Buster Call started a couple chapters ago. Actually, it already had the first barrage. This is the moment where a Buster Call might actually fail, which is pretty huge news. In the three we know of, probably has been more, the islands have been completely decimated. Nothing's left standing after a Buster Call. With the red and blue ogre showing up, and they have a way of stopping it. So they obviously start, and as they are sort of parading and smashing their way through the initial island where they've landed, a particular individual spots them from all the way up in the lab. Yeah, the first person who gets to react to seeing Dory and Broggy is none other than Usopp. Usopp finally gets the recognition, and I think it's right that he's the first one to see it's them. He's like, my masters, there they are. I can't believe it. Like, what are they doing here? Why are Dory and Broggy here? And Nami then interjects like, oh, it's nice to see, Omai and Kashi have like met up with them. They picked them up at Little Garden, so it's nice to see them all together. And Usopp was like, oh yeah, I was worried about, I didn't think we might see them at Elbaf, but now like we finally get to reunite. So it's just like a really heartfelt moment, but like so like ready for, because it's been so long since. But we get a little refresher panel of, obviously, long ago they were co-captains of the Giant Pirates, Dory and Broggy. They got into a fight that went on for 100 years, a century-long war, where they just fought each other to see who was stronger or who was better. And Luffy and the others just came and just sort of put a stop to it and just said, "Yo, let's stop." But Edison points out that it really is like a miracle almost that like you actually know each other, like of all the chances that they've showed up, and then he's like thinking on it. He's like, actually no, maybe news has already got out. Maybe that's why they've come running. And then Nami and like Usopp are like, what do you mean? How is that possible? Obviously, he then states, look, the Navy have marshalled a ton of manpower for this, and it would have took at least some time, a day, as we know, to get here. So no wonder the papers were already on it, and the headlines must be like glowing, and obviously painting them in the best light. But still, the news was already out before the raid was happening. So no wonder, this big news is already. So that just shows how well informed Morgan is and how he loves to just manipulate these newspapers and articles. But clearly the news got to the right people at the right time close by to come and rescue. So with Morgans is playing all the sides. We know he's all about just like spreading the word. But we see that Usopp is still like crying and saying, look, like they didn't come here to wage a war. They've actually come to save us. Like he's getting even more emotional. He's like, look, we gotta hurry up and finish our prep and get out of here then. And at this point we have Lilith and Brook getting in touch on a transponder snail and still sliding across the ice that Brook has made from his cool ice powers. But as they point out very quickly, they're not able to stop. So Brook's just sort of come to terms with it. He's like, I've done my job, Lilith. I've made the ice. You're the scientist. I'm going to leave it in your hands. And he just starts drinking some tea. He just takes a cup, drinking a nice cup of tea. He's just like, look, I'm not going to be able to stop this, but, I can stop for tea. So we can see Lilith not too happy with this skull. Numbskull. You see what she did. But obviously they're saying, look, we're going to have to be quick. We aren't going to stop. So Jinbei's also overhearing this and it's like, right, okay. Sounds like, things getting fired up over here. We need to be ready to leave in a moment's notice. So this isn't the time to be picking fights, Zoro. Need to take a moment, 2024, first time we're seeing Zoro. If you can tell from the endless display of Zoro stuff, probably my favourite character. Is my favourite character. But we come to up still on the lab. They haven't gone too far really, but in the destroyed buildings we can see Lucci in his awakened form, full claws, his hand's huge against just Zoro's swords, just slashing. It looks like Emma, but Zoro's just like, okay, right, we've been going at this, you're pretty tough, I guess, but I'm in a hurry, so we're just going to wrap things up now, if that's alright. And Lucci, these are both pretty, confident fighters. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Only the winner gets to talk like that, You think you're the one who's going to walk away from this, Your crew's waiting for you, but you're just a burden at this point. And it's like, whoa, the smack talk's coming out. Well. Lucci comes back with another zinger. He's like, well, there, your crew, those fools, they can't make the tough decision. They can't cut the arm off to save the body. Giving up now, though, would do them a favour. They're just waiting for a corpse at this point, and it's pointless. Like, oh, okay. But then Zoro, he's like, look, wow, Lucci, it almost sounds like you think you're in control of this fight. Fascinating. So Zoro might have been holding him off, just enjoying the tete-a-tete and training maybe. But he's very aware now that things need to wrap up, and maybe, when Zoro gets his third sword out, because, mind you, Zoro's still currently just fighting with 2 swords. Lucci is like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna die. Like, I've got this guy dead to rights. He's not coming back. Has it not clicked in his mind that a samurai sword wielding man, that he's known infamously as the pirate hunter, who uses 3 swords, has yet to pull out the 3rd sword? I mean, he saw Zoro fight on several occasions. I thought Lucci was smart, man, but wow. I think this awakening's sort of like made him more like bestial and thinks he gets the upper hand and overconfident, but I think Zoro's got this. But we jump away, we don't get too much, There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. So we jump to the pacifistas still laying waste. And we're getting a damage report. One of the vice admirals, the man with like the 5-6 jowls, like huge chins, really long neck. He's like, what's happening? Roughly 30 of the small to medium ships have just been destroyed. They're gone, sunk, dead. But, there's no sign of the barrage stopping. Like, these pacifistas are just laying waste. And he responds being like, look, pull everything back. We got to go. We can't afford to like leave an opening for them to like ruin everyone else. It's a pitiful sight to think that the Marines have to fire on their own weapons. So in all these commands, we do get his name. The response from the people on board, the cadets, the Marines, are saying, yes, sir, Vice Admiral Red King. So where that name's come from or how he got it, we don't know, but Red King is his name. So obviously he had the arm. Whether that's red, probably could come from that. But they take out one of the pacifists, or at least immobilize it. There's a huge warship bombarding it, so at some point these robotic forces were going to fall. So it's unfortunate. But they're holding off. They're dealing with everything else. Because the most important part is obviously the centre of this island where everything is taking place. We see this standoff between everyone on the floor. Vegapunk is still bleeding out, but everyone is looking up at Luffy in the sky, just, jumping around, having fun, laughing away. And he looks down, he's like, Bonnie, what is with these waterworks? Come on, girl, what's happening? And she's like, why wouldn't I be crying, you idiot? I've been looking for you for so long. And he's like, me? But I've been here this whole time. And then she says, but you didn't know. You're Nika. And it goes way over Luffy's head, and he says, Nika, what's that? Oh, yeah. What's the deal with that flimsy punch you threw anyway? Let's put a pin there. First time ever Luffy's been told about Nika, about his form and what it looks like. Because remember, even way back in Skypiea when it was mentioned, Luffy was the one dancing round. Luffy probably wasn't in earshot of when Robin was being told the stories and everything from Skypieans. This is the moment where he's just been told, you're Nika, you are him. And he's gone, what's a Nika? Who is Sun God Nika? I've got no clue. But anyway, why did you throw such a flimsy punch? And she's then like, wait, I was going for a big rubbery punch attack like you. I was trying to imitate you. But it just didn't work for me. And she's like, but you could do it. And she points up to Saturn and is like, look, Vegapunk's dying here. Give him a good old punch for Vegapunk, then we can get out of here. And Saturn's not taking any of this. This man's rhetoric is like, you filthy cockroaches, you have no right to live. How dare you even speak in my presence? But Luffy's like, you know what, mate? You're wrong. All right, Bonnie, all right. And we can see he does. Obviously, Gear 5 is obviously very cartoony. And he starts like winding up his arm and his arm starts spinning. And he's like, this is how you throw a punch. And he spins his arm so fast. He swings both back and goes into Booming Dawn Gatling. Massive fist. It's the biggest enhanced version of his Gum Gum Gatling. He is just taking hundreds of punches and he's like, you're going to pay for hurting my friends. And Saturn just gets sent flying. He literally, it looks like he goes hundreds of meters, sends away. Saturn, so far, all he's done is become a punching bag at this point. He was very threatening and ominous. What has he actually done other than just stand there and go, oh, insects. I'm scary. I'm a Gorosei. How dare you talk to me? Vegapunk, you're going to die. Kizaru, you get him. I'm just going to stand here. It's like, when have we seen him do anything with his abilities other than regenerate? Is this man just, all stature, no power? I hope not. He shouldn't be, because obviously we know he can probably hold himself in a fight. He can just get up and regenerate and be like, right, okay, I guess I'll start acting now. But we see as Luffy knocks him away, laughing, spinning around amongst his punches. We see Frankie and Bonnie and, Atlas all come to Vegapunk and is like, look, we've got to get you out of here. But Vegapunk's like, look, I've been a doctor for many years. I know if I move now, I'll die. And Atlas is like, well, the hover function should still be working on the island. Let's go. And they hover up off the ground and flying across. And Kizaru obviously gets in the way again. It's like, look, you're going to die either way, so just deal with it. And in a moment of just sheer instantaneous seconds, a laser beam fires at Bonnie, but Sanji jumps in and kicks it away, deflects it, and Kizaru's like, oh, what? Frankie's like, hold the phone. How did you just do that? That was a laser. How did you stop it? And we see Sanji's face, intensity burning, and he's like, light doesn't hold a candle to love. And Kizaru's like, if that's the case, then we've got to scrap all the physics books and we got to start back from the start. So, question. I think it was last chapter, maybe the chapter before, Kizaru sent all his lasers at the group in the sky and it pierced them all, including Sanji. What changed where now Sanji can just block it with a kick? if you look closely at the panel with Sanji, his eyebrow is twirling the other way. Yep. Seems maybe something to do with maybe the damage he's taken. Obviously, we saw that evolution or that power up he got at the end of Wano in the big fight, where he has unlocked the gem of blood inside him because he used a suit. Maybe taking damage awakened a like defensive state, and his body adapted, and now he can block the light. That's a potential, because he seems fairly angry and fairly intense, and this will be pretty interesting for Luffy to see actually, because I mean, he seems pretty killer. He doesn't want to obviously turn into this machine that just follows orders. He said that, but it seems like a state he is swapping into almost. So we'll see how it develops. But first person to ever block Kizaru's laser. So what a kick Kanji's got. And because of that, the others get to fly, like they hover above the ground and just start gliding across. Atlas has taken Kuma and Vegapunk, and Frankie is with Bonnie. But Kizaru's like, oh, this is just a pickle now, you know. They'll expect me to at least bring your head back after all this, you know. And we see that standoff. Sanji stood with Luffy. Luffy is in the air laughing. Sanji lighting his cigarette as always. And he's like, oh, you better start drafting your letter of apology then. I mean, is this the chapter where we're just getting zingers left, right and centre? Just the quips. No one's like just taking it. Everyone's like giving stuff back. So pretty. I love how Luffy just laughs as well. He's like, haha. Anyway, I'm gonna stop you now. But we don't get to see them clash yet, because we see obviously St. Jagos here. He's not going to be down yet. He took the punch, but moving in the rubble, seems to be healing up a bit, and we hear a footstep approach St. Jagos here. And he's like, well, what's this? And the voice responds with, it's not every day you see one of the 5 elders in the dirt. And we see a face. Yep, it is finally revealed that one of the Blackbeard pirates who was on the island is none other than Katarina Devon herself. And she is like, what type of delicious power have you got? She's like looking at this form. It's like, oh, to think that one of the elders would come down to the surface and bless us with his presence. How lucky we are. It's just unheard of. But anyway, mission complete. And she touches his leg. We know the 9-tailed fox that she has can shape-shift her appearance as a more evolved version of Bon Clay's fruit. She just touched St. J. Garcia's leg, saying mission complete. She can now transform into that. Could she transform into him in devil fruit form? Surely not. But still, she seems pretty content with herself to leave at this point. I don't think this was the only mission they had. They came to the island, unless they knew prior to what was happening that St. J. Garcia was going to come here. There was no way that there wasn't something else happening, because they arrived at the island before the Marines. So, unless this was their mission, they knew, and they just waited out the whole day, sat in the back, because we see it's not just her who is present. Van Auger is here. So, in the time that they've had, Van Auger has came from Winter Island, where they've just had the fight with Law. Less than, maybe just over 24 hours at this point, maybe a bit longer, has arrived here at Egghead. He's here, just sat chilling with his gun, you know, this overpowered dude we've just seen annihilate Cracker soldiers and is just actually more powerful than we think. But his warp fruit, he can obviously teleport around. They're both here. And St. J is like, what business do you have here? What could you possibly be here for? I'm surprised, a level 6 escapee from Impel Down would choose to live a life of subordination. And she's like, well, Teach is special. And Garcia's like, yes, of course. It's his lineage, isn't it? I'm sorry? What? Blackbeard has a lineage? There's going to be a rumour mill flying around now about what type of lineage Blackbeard's got, whether he's a reincarnation or a Buccaneer or a Lunarian or some other race that we don't know about from the ancient civilization. But clearly the five elders are privy to it because they know everything. But he's like, look, your crew are always up to something, What do you hope to get out of these stunts? And Van Org is the one to respond here. He's been quiet this whole time. He's just sat on the rubble and he's like, the world. Oh, guys, Dio has entered the chat. The world is what they're after. That is huge. Like, we didn't really know what Blackbeard's intentions were. We know he's trying to go for the One Piece. We know he's just causing carnage and creating a crew of just strong individuals and basically hunting devil fruit to give them the best possible fruit to fight with. Now we know he's after the world. And St. J. Garcia is like done with talking, so he tries to attack, but Van Orge's observation is pretty high because he's able to sense it and teleport them away. And they're just like, don't go far, they're probably just off to the side and they're just starting to walk away. And Karina's like, wait, we've only gone like 100 yards. Like, why didn't you just warp us off the island? And he's like, I haven't mastered it yet. All right, just, relax. And we see an individual emerge from the tree lines, asking them to wait, pleading for them to hold on, because I have always wanted to meet you guys, and especially I have always wanted to meet the Commodore. Yeah, Caribou is free and is begging for his life because he's always dreamed of being on Teacher's crew. And all he's ever wished is to meet him and talk to him. So he's like, please take me with you. And that's where the chapter concludes today. Oh, so much happening. Giant pirates are about to rock up, obviously. Sanji can block sheer light now, which is an interesting development. I want to know, surely there's something else they were up to. What possible reason would Katarina stick around just in the hopes that St. J. Garcia was going to make landfall and just happen to fly into where she was stood? I mean, think of the potential now of if St. J's defeated here, what she could do being able to transform into him. The devastation she has now at just her fingertips to change into a Gorosei and mimic his appearance almost flawlessly. So far as I think she could go back to the Five Elders and only Eam might actually realise it's not St. J. I think the others will be deceived. I think that's how strong this fruit is going to be. I think the knowledge, the memories, everything is mimicked. Because why would this be like an advancement to Bon Clay's fruit? She's met the prerequisite. She has made contact with a Gorosei, and that's all she needed to do. Such a power move. God. Can you just imagine going back to Blackbeard and be like, oh yeah, Blackbeard, you know, they're taking over the world, what you want to do? Yeah, just changes the face of St. J. Yeah, I can just turn into one of the Goro say now, so, you know, what should we do? Where do we want to go? It's like, oh, let's go deal with the Marines. You turn into St. J and let's just have our way. It's like, okay. I like what Van Orga was saying though, because he even acknowledges that he hasn't mastered his fruit yet. But we don't know the prerequisite for awakening. We thought it was stuff to do with time, like how long they had the fruit, how much they developed. Maybe Van Orga's more on the lines of maybe you just have to train with it an awful lot and like rigorously force yourself to use it. Because final saga, final fight's coming up towards the end. I would be very surprised if Blackbeard's crew didn't awaken their fruits by then. If they only had their fruit at a base level with no awakening, whereas every other fighter currently is awakened or awakening their fruit, I don't think that's going to happen. Unless Blackbeard has a way to like advance it. That'll be pretty cool. Ooh. Interesting. Well, let me know what you thought of the chapter. I thought it was pretty good, but let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.